Hi, and welcome back to the Program Your Destiny course. This is lesson 7, the daily ritual of positive neuroassociative conditioning or cognitive therapy for the self. And as we already talked about in the previous lesson, we're ultimately going to be wanting to deprogram any negative neuroassociations or pain bodies that we get on a daily basis, and make sure that they're deprogrammed effectively to get access to what's underlying that, our natural self, which is our social identity. And then ultimately, we're working to strengthen that social identity's assertiveness and confidence, attunement to its own needs and wants, its intelligence, as well as the social personality. And in doing so, we unlock a life of continuous magical moments because we have tapped into the social identity's peak positive neurophysiological state. That's one of the benefits of it. And then we're able to connect to, in an explanatory style, positive magical moments, meaning how we're interpreting events and circumstances that are happening to us. And that's where positive, amazing, serendipitous events happen to us. And, things just, seem to fall in place and are magical in that capacity. Magical moments is what Tony Robbins talks about. So the power of positive NAC, living life at the peak. Life is meant to be lived at the peak, where every moment becomes a magical experience imbued with passion, a sense of absolute fulfillment associated with the social identity and the peak positive neurophysiological state that Tony Robbins talks about. The ultimate goal in life is not to experience fleeting, but cultivate a continuous state of peak positive neurophysiological state where every moment is deeply fulfilling and energizing. You just feel that joy for living that Tony Robbins talks about. The key to unlocking the peak positive state is positive neuroassociative conditioning or cognitive therapy for the self on a daily basis. So NAC allows us to systematically deprogram negative neuroassociations and pain bodies that have been ingrained through us through strict parent moralities, whether they're strict mother or strict father morality, and societal conditioning with regard to those. And then through the disciplined practice of NAC, we remove these limiting neuroassociations and fully access our true social identity, our true social self, the core peak of our peak neurophysiological state, or our social positive, if you will. And the ultimate generator of endless magical moments is where we experience that confidence without hesitation, that passion in every interaction, that effortless charisma and flow. And the foundation is, as we talked about, deprogramming or releasing those pain bodies. So many of us has been conditioned from childhood to associate pain with our natural desires, aspirations, and identities. From an early age, strict parent moralities, whether they're mother or father, impose subconscious limitations that create negative neuroassociations or fear or pain associated with self-expression and our own intentionalities, and maybe even anything about those. These pain bodies manifest in fear, the conditioned hesitation to act on what we truly desire, guilt, the subconscious belief that seeking fulfillment or pleasure is wrong, hesitation, a learned response that conditions self-doubt in moments requiring confidence. The strict moral programming from strict parent morality, as George Lakoff talks about, creates negative neuroassociations or pain bodies that block our access to the peak neurophysiological state or our social positive. Whenever we attempt to act boldly, confidently, or freely, we feel resistance as if we're violating an unseen rule. Through neuroassociative conditioning on a daily basis or cognitive therapy for the self, we systematically deprogramming these limiting beliefs and replace them with empowering associations. So the first step in unlocking continuous magical moments is identifying the neural patterns that induce pain associated with the strict parent morality, strict father, strict mother. So we have to identify the specific pain body that's relative to us, that's limiting us. We then, in terms of releasing negative neuroassociations, we recognize and identify them. So what is triggering hesitation, fear, or guilt? Is it the strict father morality, or associated typically with religion or with a soldier? Or is it strict mother morality that's typically associated with the motherhood and guilt or shame around sexuality? So what beliefs make me hold back from expressing my full confidence? Where do these beliefs come from in terms of those strict parent moralities? We actively then reframe and replace these associations with a more healthy explanatory style internal framing, using specifically power language, and we use empowering language to reframe those beliefs. So confidence and boldness allow me to act, inspire, and influence. We dissolve emotional resistance through action. Every time you take action that contradicts past conditioning, you're rewiring your neuroassociations, and each bold action weakens negative conditioning and reinforces pleasure-linked confidence. So now that we've transitioned to our social identity, gotten to the true self underneath pain bodies, the true self emerges with that social positive, with that peak positive neurophysiological state. Once the negative neuroassociations have been neutralized, we step into our social identity, and the authentic version of ourselves is what we're here to be. So then we naturally thrive in alignment with that peak energy and passion, And social identity is the most powerful generator of peak neurophysiological states, or the social positive. When pain bodies are removed, we no longer react based upon conditioned fear or hesitation. We operate instead from a place of confidence, certainty, and magnetic charisma. By embracing our social identity fully, we shift from pain avoidance to pleasure maximization. And that's what we're trying to do with the second half of positive NAC. Rather than reacting to life, we take action to shape it with intention, energy, and enthusiasm to meet our needs. So ultimately what we're trying to do is we're strengthening that peak neurophysiological state, that social positive, and it becomes more and more positive the more positive NAC we do, or the more cognitive therapy to the positive that we do. So positive NAC is not a one-time event. It's a daily ritual. It's when you wake up in the morning. It's midday. It's the evening that we talked about in the last lesson. And the key practices for maintaining a continuous state of peak energy and passion, morning priming like Tony Robbins talks. So when we're talking about in the morning, that hour of power, there's social anchoring, there's neurophysiological stimulation, there's reinforcing positive associations. We're ultimately trying to link pleasure to confidence, assertiveness, and bold action in order to realize our needs and wants. And then ultimately the evening integration, reflecting on the day's magical moments, documenting, journaling them, and getting more of them. So the morning priming, Tony Robbins talks about get grateful, meaning think about the magical moments you're grateful for now, and then visualize the future in terms of what you want to achieve and what you want to do. Do positive affirmations and incantations, and then get into some high energy movement. Tony Robbins says emotion comes from motion, so we want to make sure we every day get into exercise, breath work, dynamic physical action to activate that peak energy. And then ultimately getting into those social interactions are really important, that strengthening that social muscle. And then your evening integration, reflecting and journaling on the magical moments, the wins, expressing gratitude for confidence expanding experiences. And then finally living life at the peak. A life of continuous magical moments is what we're all after. That's at the seat of the social identity. Once we unlock that and work to strengthen that, it just keeps getting more magical and more magical in terms of those moments and those interactions of pleasure and passion in life. This is the real art of living that Tony Robbins talks about, the fulfillment side, where passion meets purpose, and every day is an exhilarating journey towards self-actualization. So stay tuned, guys, and we're off to the next lesson.